All right, guys, Seth and I are out skating in Lexington today, and I'm gonna be honest and tell you, I'm a nervous wreck today. I have to go in tomorrow for a procedure to remove some skin cancer on my face, and man, I'm totally white coat syndrome, and I'm needle phobic to the point of it destroying me. So I had to come out here tonight and try to get some stress off me because I am so incredibly nervous about this procedure. And it's not pain. Obviously, I fall out here, I get pain all the time. There's just something about it. I just have a phobia about it, and it's tough. But I thought tonight, my drop-in video actually did pretty well. I was pretty happy with the response from it. So I thought I'd do another one tonight since we don't have much time to skate. And I thought I'd do a frontside stall video on some tips for frontside stalls for older people. I know when I first started skating, a lot of online things said start with a backside stall, and maybe when you're young and twisting and turning is easy for you, that's a better way to start. And they say that because you're facing down, you know, you're facing back down the ramp after you make the turn. But if it's not easy for you to make the turn, which is not for me, I do not have good twisting, that's not an easy thing to do. So let's talk about how to work your way into a frontside stall and do that. So obviously on a frontside stall, you're coming up the ramp and you're just jumping up on the wall front side. And the biggest thing you got to be able to do with that is you got to be able to go down the wall backwards. So that's number one. You have to feel whatever wall you're doing it on, you got to feel totally comfortable coming down backwards. And I don't generally start on banks because I don't like it, but this is one thing where it's not so bad to start on a bank. So let's do it here on the fun box, the pyramid, and I'll show you kind of how to start there, and then we'll work over to this bank, and then we'll work up to that wall, because it's just a progression for doing it. There's still a lot of walls here I don't like to do it on because I don't like to transition. I've done it on this back wall, but I don't like to transition on this wall. I do it here, the transition's better, but this wall is just, I don't like backing back down this wall. It's got a super steep transition. So let's start up here on the fun box, and then I'll show you how to do it on the 3-foot bank with a much better lip, and then I'll talk about some gotchas for doing it on banks. So you just come up, stall on the bank, go back. Again, come up, stall on the bank, back down. And so the problem here is it's hard to judge your speed because, again, if your H blocks are not touching, much like on the drop-in, it's hard to get a feel for when you're actually stopping. So that would be, to me, the biggest issue with a bank like this that's not very steep, is that you don't really lock in at the top. You just kind of hit it and roll down. So let's do it over here on the 3-foot bank because this one's got a much better top. Your H block actually hits and locks you in that, but there's a gotcha to that, so let's talk about it. The first thing you need to be able to do is just back down the wall, like I said. So I'll do a few here on this bank, just coming up and backing down. And then once we do that, we'll start jumping up on the top and locking in. So the first thing you need to do is get comfortable just going up and backing down the wall, going up and backing down the wall. All right, so now we've done a few with the lock-in, and if you noticed, I jumped up there. Because one of the bad things about riding up these walls is not jumping, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here right now. And then here it's not terrible, but when we go up to the bigger walls with the coping, it makes a big difference. So let me show you what I'm talking about. right, so you saw I did a few of those where I just rolled onto the top, and that would seem like a great way to do it, but there's two really bad things that can happen with that. Number one is you tend to reach, and what I mean by reach is like when you come up to the top of the wall, instead of riding to the top, you push your feet to the top. You get up and you push your feet up towards the coping, and you don't ever want to do that. You never want to push your feet up. You want to ride up and be on the coping when you hit. And if you don't jump, that really allows you to do that push with your feet. And what that'll do is you'll overshoot the top and you'll fall flat on your back. And ask me how I know that. So never roll, always try to jump onto the transition, the ledge or the coping, and that'll help you. The second thing is you don't want to overshoot horizontally. You always want to come down, like down on the coping, like down on it. You don't want to be this way on it, to where if you miss, your foot goes across the top like that. Woo! Because that's bad news. So those two things, always try to jump into it and never push your feet up towards it. Never. Always have enough speed to ride up and land on the top. So let's do this wall now. Let's back into this one here. Let's just back into it a few times and then we'll go for the stall. So just ride up it, back down. Again, up it, back down. Again, up, back down. So that needs to get to the point where it feels totally natural, riding up, back and down, riding up, back and down. And all you do is you get closer and closer and closer. But again, you don't want to push your feet up there towards it. So there's going to come a time when you just have to push up and jump on it. It's much easier. This is a big wall, but it's just a nice transition here. It's a lot easier on a 3-foot wall, but I don't have one here. So it's just, there's a point where you got to commit, and you got to commit to landing on it, like on it, and not into it like that. Because again, if you're pushing into it and you miss, it's going to be horrible, because I've done that. So we'll do a few here, and then we'll do a few on the other end, on the 4-foot end. And then on that 4-foot end, I'll talk about one last thing, and then we'll cut this one. But much like I was talking about on the drop-in video, things being right in front of you, like dropping in here and then having that right in front of you, it kind of makes things scary. Doing a frontside stall on this one and coming back down, because you got a lot of speed when you come back off of that. Well, you got a bowl here with a 6-foot drop, and you've got a corner here that you got to navigate. So you need to make sure that you build up your skills to the point where you can navigate. So let's navigate this corner. I'll show you a few times, and navigate around this corner. You got to feel comfortable with that before you try something like this, no matter how good the transition is. So I'm gonna give you guys a little warning before I go, and it's beware of little short stuff. So you got this little thing like the top of the volcano, and the transition here, it's short, it's little, it looks like it would be a great place to learn, but the transition is really sharp at the bottom, and you gotta be on the ball to hit this. So let's do a couple and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So that seems really easy when you look at it, but it's not. The transition is real sharp at the bottom. And it's the same way with these guys, like down here at the end of this wall. So this little guy right here, yeah, those little walls are just not as easy as they look. So I just say be careful on the little short transitions. I hope that helps you guys. Again, I think number one, you got to be comfortable going backwards. You got to work. If it takes you 1,000 times to get comfortable on a wall going backwards, then that's what it takes. Number two, don't reach for the top. Don't reach for the coping. Never push your feet towards the coping. Let your height take you onto the coping so that you're pushing down onto it. And then lastly, make sure you know what's behind you and that you're comfortable coming off the wall so that you're clear behind you and you got a clear path, because that's, you know, that's some stress that's in your mind that's going to keep you from doing it. So yeah, I hope that's helpful on the front side stalls, and we're going to skate around a little bit, then I got to go pick up my son. And this probably won't be out before I have my surgery, so I'm just hoping that that goes well tomorrow. And like always, appreciate you guys watching. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, from Lexington, North Carolina, we'll see you on the next one.